Hey everyone, welcome to Arsenal Fan TV. This is the review of Arsenal's 1-0 defeat to Swansea at the Emirates Stadium this evening. A bitterly disappointing result to say the least. We've been on such a vain run of form recently, and to have a result like this in these circumstances, which is a result that kind of looks like the kind of performance we were putting in about 2012. This game really reminded me of the performance we put in against Swansea when we lost 2-0 and Michu scored 2 goals. We lost that defensive shape when Coquelin went off. It was a poor game from us. I mean, we controlled possession in this fixture, but we weren't productive with it. We didn't perform at the right end of the pitch. We had the chance to do it, but unfortunately we couldn't put them in the back of the net, and we've been punished. Because I think, to be fair, I think we were a bit cocky this evening. I think we were a bit arrogant. It was, again, to the game against Monaco a couple of months ago when we lost 3-1 at home. It was the same kind of arrogant manner. We turned up at this game kind of thinking that we're Arsenal, we can push aside Swansea. We've been on such a good run of form, we can put them to bed. It wasn't the case there. Swansea are a very good side. Under Gary Monk, they've been performing some excellent football, and I think this result pushes them up to 8th in the table. So they're certainly not a team that we can take lightly. They've got some excellent players in midfield, such as Key, Jonjo Shelvey. At times, they were dominating the midfield, and I think it was a very poor display from every outfield Arsenal player today. I don't think there's any player that can really be feeling too confident after that performance. I think we just too many arrogant mannerisms within the side, and it frustrates me that we think at times we're better than we actually are. There was a lack of effort in that first half. I think it was just a very lacklustre display, a lack of impetus, I think would be the right word to describe how he performed. There was no one able to put the ball in the back of the net. There was no one driving from the midfield to break through the Swansea line. I think this maybe would have been a good game for Wilshere to start in. He potentially had a point to prove on his 150th appearance. He wasn't able to do much when he came off from the bench. But again, it was a very annoying, frustrating performance from a lot of our outfield players. Ramsey had an absolute shocker tonight, but I don't want to individualise players, because practically every player in the midfield and onwards failed to get in the game and failed to break down what was a very well regimented side under the influence of Gary Monk. And it has to be said, a lot of credit has to go Swansea's way this evening. I'm not sure if they... It's hard to say if they deserve the win or not, because I think they defended valiantly throughout the game, and I think Arsene Wenger has actually been very harsh in his press conference by saying that Swansea didn't come to play, they just came to defend. Fair enough, they did come to defend, but what are they going to do against a team like Arsenal away from home? I fully expected them to play as we expected them to play like this. We should have been prepared for this scenario, and unfortunately they've out-tacticked us in this game, and I think it is fair to say they deserve to win. They didn't exactly fight hard to get the victory at one end of the pitch, especially. They weren't attacking too much in this game, but they took their chance when it came to them. Fair play, they put it in the back of the net. It was poor goalkeeping by David Ospina, it has to be said, and it's poor from us. I think it's poor from Wenger in the sense to take off Francis Coquelin and really go for it when we didn't really have to. I think this was one of those games where we could have settled for a point. It wouldn't have been a great result, but if we were going to get a top 2 finish, a point in this game, I think would have done us justice, and then we could have gone to United and gone all out for the win in that game. Unfortunately, it looked like we tried to go all out for something in this game, and it's really bitten us in the back. Frustrating to see that, and it's a learning curve for us. I don't think there's too much of a reason to overreact in this game. Things didn't go right for us, and of course, this does kind of put into perspective why we're not title challengers yet, because we've got a performance of this calibre inside of us. Until this performance is rid of us, then we're not going to be challenging for the title. I think there are areas of the pitch which we've certainly got to revise at times. I think Coquelin certainly should have stayed on the pitch. I think Walcott maybe should have started this game on the right flank. I think another thing that we've got to address, Wenger coming out before the game saying that Theo Walcott is a striker. I'm sorry, but if he's going to miss chances like the one he had today, he had a great opportunity to put it on the back of the net. He squandered it horrifically. But as did Alexis Sanchez. But Theo Walcott's chance was a lot easier to put in the back of the net, and he failed to get into the game in that striking role. He doesn't strike me as a player that can have a lot of influence in that role of the pitch in this Arsenal setup. He doesn't seem to work there. I much prefer to see him play on the right hand side. We can get into the game a little bit more, penetrate the back lines of teams, but he wasn't able to do that in that striking position. He gets into good positions, but when we're trying to cross the ball into the box, there's no target man. Unfortunately, Theo Walcott can't do that for us, and I want to see the best of him, but I don't think he's going to come in that striking role anytime soon. Maybe it's something we can experiment with in pre-season, but we can't be taking off Olivier Giroud and putting off Theo Walcott. I think things kind of fell to pieces a bit when Giroud came off. We were putting loads and loads and loads and loads of balls into the box, but no one was getting on the end of them. Fabianski had an absolute world-class performance today, but I don't think we should really forget that a lot of the chances that he saved were just aimed right at him. We made it a very good performance for Fabianski today. today by placing a lot of our shots at him. Ramsey was very guilty of that, but as was every other member of the team. Practically every shot we had was into the hands of Fabianski. I mean, we must have had so many shots on target, but right at the goalkeeper. It was poor finishing from us today, and I just felt that we needed that little bit more cutting edge in that top half of the pitch. But I don't think there's any reason to have a meltdown over this result. I mean, we're in a good position still. Let's not forget, we're 2 points above United. We've got a game in hand over them. It has squandered our chances for second place. I think that's saying the very least. I think we have bottled it in a sense, and that's very frustrating to see. This was a very good opportunity for us to get second. It's a game we should have won. Swansea have taken 6 points of us this season. We haven't beaten them, and they've beaten us twice over. That's not good enough. As good as the team Swansea are, for us to not get a point off them at all is diabolical. No matter how good Gary Monk is, no matter how good Swansea have been playing this season, it's simply not good enough. And I'm very frustrated with how he performed tonight. And that we haven't at least got a point from the game. I felt that we maybe credited that at least. But you've got to hope that Swansea can do us a favour against Man City next week, because you know, we're relying on Man City now to slip up if we're to get second. Hopefully Swansea can get a result against them, and then we've got a win against Man United at Old Trafford. If anything, that's a great opportunity to bounce back, but I'd have liked to have gone into that game with a bit more confidence behind us. This result is, of course, going to hinder our confidence. I want to see Danny Welbeck feature in that game if he's available. No more Aaron Ramsey on the right-hand side of the pitch. Completely takes out an outlet of us of the pitch. It's frustrating because I'm saying that word a lot now, it's getting a bit repetitive, but he drifts in from the right-hand side into the centre of the park, completely takes out the right flank for us, and leaves a lot of work for Bellerin to do. I noticed Bellerin struggled deeply with the threat of Jefferson Montero this evening, and it's just something that's got to stop. We've got to look at our tactics a bit more. We've got to look at the opposition a bit more before we face them. Jefferson Montero, Nathan Dyer, Sigurdsson, players that were attacking us with pace this evening, making it very difficult for us, and I felt that our defence certainly struggled at times to cope with the threat that Swansea had. But Swansea, you've got to say, certainly deserved their victory today, and you've got to say hats off to Lucas Fabianski for putting in a world-class performance. But like I already mentioned, we helped him a lot in putting in such a good display by aiming all our shots at him. Our next game is at Old Trafford. You know, not the most ideal fixture to go into after a loss at home to Swansea. I mean, I still can't believe we lost at home to Swansea of all people. But I mean, you've got to congratulate Swansea. They performed admirably this evening, and they're having an excellent season under Gary Monk. I do hope they get something against Man City next week and keep us in the race for second place in the Premier League. But like I was saying, Old Trafford up next. It'd be great if we could do the double at Manchester United, and if we could feature Welbeck in that game, playing on the right-hand side, Giroud up top, Alexis Sanchez on the left, Ozil in the middle. I want to see a better, more influential display from Mesut Ozil. Obviously, keep cockling on for the full 90 minutes, otherwise that's going to cost us a little bit. And just really, we've got top 4 in the bag, but I don't want us finishing 4th. That would be absolute disaster. If we lost to United, that's potentially where we could be coming, which would just is a horrible thought. I mean, our home games now are Sunderland and West Brom. Look easy on paper, but if we perform to the standard that we have done today, they're not going to be easy for us whatsoever, and we're not going to make them easy for ourselves if we continue to play in this arrogant manner that we have done against teams that we think we should be beating. But hopefully we can make it 9 points from 9 in our remaining fixtures. We've got to go into that game against Aston Villa on May the 30th with a lot of confidence behind us if we're to stand a chance of lifting the FA Cup trophy once more. But it's a disappointing result tonight, but let's not have a meltdown over it. It is a blip in what could be still a blossoming career. We've got a lot of points, well, not a lot of points to play for, 9 points to play for. It can still be a good end to the season, but let's just look at this as a blip, take a learning curve from it. I mean, that's all we can do. We've got to look back at it and just really reassemble what was a poor display from Arsenal this evening, be a bit more penetrative in the future, and basically that's all I've got to say on what was a shocking, not shocking, but disappointing result and performance from Arsenal this evening. But anyway, guys, those were my thoughts. Leave your thoughts on the game in the comments box below. Let me know what you're thinking going into the game at Old Trafford on Sunday. I'd love to know your thoughts heading into that fixture. Subscribe to Arsenal Fan TV. Check out my own channel, AFC Game by Game. I will be sure to speak to you very soon, guys.
Arsenal Fan TV, Claude, very, very disappointing tonight not to win the game. What happened?
Got nothing up front, have we? We're going to no finishing. And we give a poor goal away because we haven't got a decent goal.